All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Afonso Solac. I'm civil engineer. I work for the Department of Software Development of CYPE. Today we will start with this cycle of, I think it is 26 webinars that will be weekly on Wednesdays at two times, okay? So during the morning and during the evening. From today, 24th February, to 16 June, okay, and these webinars that are called Discover CYPE 2021. So we'll try to see everything about CYPE during the next months, during this 5 next months, starting today, 24th of February, okay? So the idea here is to take a look on the main features, the main tools, the main software that CYPE just released during this year of 2020 and now 2021. Our last release was on last Monday. So the version 2021E, okay, it was launched just 3 days ago, okay. So we have a lot of new features and new programs. And during these seminars, we will try to see all these new features that we've just introduced in our software. Okay, so starting today, Wednesday, 24th February, we talk about 3D architectural modeling in IFC. In this case, we will use the application CYPE Architecture. Okay, so CYPE Architecture is one of the new tools that we launched on the past summer. To develop an architectural model adopting the IFC standard. It's a free tool, okay? Today we will see a totally free tool, and we'll create some examples about this part here, the 3D architectural modeling, okay? During the next sections, we will connect this model created with CYPE Architecture with different applications. So, for example, in the next Wednesday, my colleague Antonio will talk about the graphic documentation that can be generated from this IFC model. So we'll use the BIMserver.center system to connect CYPE Architecture and another tool that is called Open BIM Layout. Okay, so in CYPE Architecture, we will create the 3D model, the BIM model, BAM model, and then connect with another tool that is called Open BIM Layout to extract the graphic documentation from that model, okay? And the same system, the same workflow will apply to generate the bill of quantities of the project, then to calculate different types of structures and manage the detailing and fabrication of these structures, okay? Generate the rebars, different situations that we can have in our software. In April, we'll see more about reinforced concrete structures, and then start with the MEP facilities. So water supply, fire protection, lighting installations, different facilities that we have in our building, finishing at June with clash detection, some box keywords elements, and some tips if you want to work with CYPE and CYPE Architecture together. So here we will have some tips and good practices to work with both softwares. Okay, so let's start with this first webinar. Okay, so 3D architectural modeling in IFC with CYPE Architecture. I think that the first thing we must know is how can we download CYPE Architecture? Okay, CYPE Architecture is a free tool, but how can we download this application and install in our computers? It's very easy. You just have to search for BIMserver.center. It's our cloud platform. You find it easily on Google. Okay, so the first contact that you have with this platform is this one here. This is the main page of the platform. Here you can create your account. If you don't have an account yet, you can create this account just using this button here, register here. Okay, it's for free. You don't have to pay for that. And in this case, I have my account. I will just log in on this account, and this is the dashboard of my BIMserver.center, where where I can manage my projects, my contacts, my collaboration requests, and the last applications that I've downloaded. Okay, so here we can have an overview about our projects at this moment. We can see here that some projects have some changes in the last hours because we have been working as a team. So some one of these projects have been working and changing something. I was notified by the platform, and we can see these changes here. But to download CYPE Architecture, we just have to go here on the store menu. Okay, here you can find 143 different open bin applications, most of them developed by CYPE. So CYPE is one of the brands that are inside of this platform, being the BIMserver.center platform. Okay, so here we have around 130 applications that are today synchronized or working with the BIMserver.center platform. And you can find, you can search for example, architecture, okay, press enter, and then you find the CYPE Architecture application. Okay, so here you have the CYPE Architecture, and you can download it directly from this button, the download button. It's very easy to install. You don't have to add any license number or any registration or key. So you have just to download here. If you have any doubts during this process of installation, you can find more information here on the available resources, where you can find some tutorials, seminars, links of interest, like this one, for example, download and installation of CYPE Architecture. Okay, you can find more information about these steps here. Okay, just looking for that, or you can search on YouTube to CYPE Architecture, and you can find more information because there's a lot of videos about this application that are available at YouTube. Okay, all right. I have CYPE Architecture installed on my computer. At this moment, actually, I have 4 different projects that are running on CYPE Architecture, and maybe this is the first thing that we can talk about this application. We can work with different projects at the same time. We don't have to close the application to open a next project. Okay, so you can work with different projects in the same time. There is no problem. The only limitation is it's your computer. If you have a very good computer, maybe you can open more projects. Then it depends on the resources that you have on your computer, the hardware that you have on your computer. Okay, so in this case, I have here 4 different projects. I'll use them to show a little bit about the workspace, the interface of the software. Then we'll create a very simple but very precise example showing the main features of the application. Okay, so the first thing is this little house here. It's a quite interesting model. Okay, the first thing is CYPE Architecture is divided in 3 main tabs. Okay, so we have here an sketch tab, then we have an architecture tab, and then the furniture tab. Okay, 3 different tabs that we can alternate. We can work between them, starting in one tab, then going to another tab, then finishing in another one. Okay, at any time we can change from one tab to another. Okay, and the idea here is to work from the first moment of our project. We have tools to work with from the very first moment of our project. The sketch moment, the moment that we will think the building, will decide the main characters of our building just using drawings. We can do that on the sketch tab. Then we can advance a little bit and then convert this sketch on an architecture entities. For example, developing walls, curtain walls, louvers, or maybe some slabs, different types of slabs, suspended ceilings, roofs, openings, connections like stairs, elevators, lifts, different elements, different construction elements. Okay, so the main difference between the sketch tab and the architecture tab is that on the sketch tab, we are talking about drawings. We are talking about arcs, quadrilaterals, circles, lines. And when we change from sketch to architecture, we are talking about construction elements, okay? So here, these are the main differences between both of them, okay? And then in a third moment, we can add also some furniture, some home appliances, some sanitary appliances on our projects. And these elements can be connected with different applications from CYPE through BIMserver.center when we export and update these models. So for example, sanitary equipment can be connected with site plumbing to develop the plumbing facilities, okay, to design the plumbing facilities. Knowing the place of this toilet, it's going to be easier to connect this toilet with site plumbing and design and calculate the size of the pipes that are related to this equipment. Okay, so that's very interesting. I could say that that's a kind of smart object, because here we don't have just a 3D geometry of these elements. We also have some elements that can be useful for the next steps of our project. Okay. All right. So as we saw, sketch, architecture, and furniture, very easy. And you can see that when we change from one tab to another, the tools that we have here, some of them change. So for example, here we can see that this first part is different, but this part here, the views section and the layers section, they are the same, and they are the same. We can change from one tab to another, but this part is common to these three tabs. Okay, so these views and these layers tabs are common, and we can use this menus here, this views and layers menus at any time. Okay, so we use the views menu, for example, to change from a rooftop, for example, a floor plan in the rooftop to the first floor, then to the ground floor. So we will use as a browser, a views browser, for example. So here we have the basement, then the ground floor, the first floor, okay? We can also create here some elevations, like the east elevation here, or the north or south. Actually, here we have some sections, but could be some elevations too, okay? Here we can have our 3D view. Okay, let's see another example here. For example, this huge building here. So here we have different elevations. The south here. So let me put on the right here. For example, here the north. Okay, different views that we can have here on our project. Okay, to create a new view is very easy. You just have to go to one of them. For example, I like to work directly on the 3D view, and for example, going in a specific projection like this one, the XY, we can see the building in a bird's view, in a projection. Okay, and then you can create a new view, for example, using this button here. I'll create for example here, I don't know, a section. Okay, so this one, a section, for example. I select this section option, and then we can draw the position of this section, for example, from this point to this point. Okay, at this moment the section is flexible. We can create this line in any point, but we can activate the orthogonality, and it's gonna be more precise. So now I cannot change the position of this section. It's orthogonal to one of the axes of the project. Okay, so just here and here, and then we decide the direction of this section to where we want to see the information. I would like to see the information that is in this side of the building, not at this side of the building. So I'll use this one, for example, and we'll put a name. So section AA, for example. Okay, let's accept that. And here we have a section, this new section that was created inside of a new view. So in the sections group, we have now the section AA. Okay, so this was created. I don't like this name. Let's change the name. I will use the name one, for example, no problem. We can just double click on the name or use this button here, the edit button, and we can change this information, okay? No problem, okay? Let's create another section just to have a look how this browser works. Let's create a new one, for example, create, and let's use, for example, let's create an elevation section. So I'll create this one, and let's draw, for example, this elevation that's gonna be from this part. I will see this information. So my new elevation, for example, my new elevation, okay? So when we decided to create an elevation section, we are actually classifying the views inside of this browser. And my new elevation was placed inside of the elevations group. Okay, so that's how this system works. So we can create these different sections and classify these sections inside of this browser. Okay, that's quite useful because when you are modeling your building, you can alternate from one floor to another, to the 3D view, then to a specific section, and you can access part of the information that probably is hidden by other elements of the building. So in this case, for example, would be very difficult to change this chair if we have the other floors of the building activated. So changing the information using this floor plan, it's much easier. Okay. All right. So this is the views menu that we have on CYPE Architecture, but we can combine these views with some layers. Okay. So let's see again our little house here. Let's go back to the little house. Here on the little house, I've created some layers. These layers, as you can see here, they are different from the layers that are, for example, on this other project here. Here I have much more layers than that I have here on this small house. Why? Because these layers are created by me. They are personalized. We can create the layers according to the needs that we have on our project. So in this case, the project it was much smaller than this train station project here. Okay, so it was not necessary to create too many layers as was necessary here on the train station. Okay, so here you can create your own layers and you can assign the elements of your building to these layers. Okay, so for example, in this case, I created a specific layer that was to the facade, for example, the external thermal insulation system that is called the ethics system. Okay, so I created this layer, and this layer was assigned just to the walls that were placed on this part of the building. When we deactivated this part, so we cannot see the system here, the facade system. We have two systems of facade. So in this place, we have another one. They are called the ventilated facade. So let's deactivate that information. And now we will see that these walls now are invisible. Okay, so this separation in two layers was my decision when I was modeling this building. It was easier to work with these layers. Okay, or for example, the interior walls. Let's see if we have some interior walls here inside this part that is on blue, selected by blue. Okay, it's an interior wall. If we deactivate that information, we'll see that the blue the blue element, let's see, is deactivate. Okay, so this is how this system works with different layers. Sometimes it's going to be very useful to combine one specific view with some combinations of layers. Okay, just to have more flexibility when we are modeling this building. Okay, so to create an element, a new layer, for example, let's create a new layer here in this project. Let's open a little bit more here. Let's create a new layer, for example. This new layer, let's create, maybe we have here too many projects open, 4 projects, maybe too much. Let's close this train station here that is too big. It's a very interesting project, but let's close it. Okay, and let's keep going here. So my new layer, let's create a new layer here. Okay, when we select a layer using this active button, we can select just one of them. We cannot select 2 layers at the same time. Why? Because when we select this active layer, it means that everything that we draw, that we model, that we introduce in our project will be assigned to this layer. Okay, if we have a, if in any moment we want to change some elements from one layer to another, that's possible too. Okay, so let's suppose here that we will add a new element. For example, let's put just here, I don't know, a new table in the middle of the building. Okay, just to have an example here, this little table here. Let's suppose we will put this new table here. Okay, oh, actually it was not a good position, but okay, we have here our table. If we deactivate this layer at this moment, just the table it's deactivated. Okay, because the table was assigned to this layer because this layer was active. Okay, activated. Okay, but maybe we want to say that no, this table should be on the furniture layer, not on the new layer that we've just created. How can we change one element to a different layer? It's very easy. You just have to use this button here, assign layer, and then select the element that you want to change from one layer to another. So in this one, the table, and then select the layer to where you want to send this element, to the furniture layer, and confirm with your right with the right button of your mouse. Okay, so we've changed the table from one layer to another. If we deactivate now this layer, the furniture layer, you can see that everything about furniture was deactivated. Okay, and if we deactivated the new layer, now the table, it doesn't affect the table. Okay, so this is how this system works. Okay, the layer system. Okay, that's very useful to this 3D modeling of a complex project. All right, more things that we have here. In some moments, we can create these sections, these elevations, these floor plans, okay, these 3D views, but sometimes we can also use these sections that we have here, these 3 sections. They are very useful. They are temporary. We cannot save the position of these sections, but sometimes we can use it just to have a fast overview of something that is inside of the building, for example. So you can just use one of them. You can also combine 2 of them, for example, the green axis, the blue axis, and also the red axis at the same time, no problem. Okay, so just to work with something that is inside of the building, but you don't want to create a view or a section or a specific plan. So you can use these temporary sections here to cut the building. If you double click on one of these arrows, you can invert the direction of these sections. So double clicking here or double clicking here. Oh, here we don't have any information. Now we have, okay. You can double click and work in a specific part of your building. It's like a selection box or a box of views or a view box, something like that. The idea is to see just a part of the building. You can also deactivate or hide the section planes itself. The section planes now are not visible, just the model. Okay, you cannot move the section planes. You must activate again, then move, and then deactivate if you wanna work on the model. Okay, so this is very useful. Okay, to work to create these temporary sections. All right, so I think we can create a new project and let's see how the sketch, architecture, and furniture tabs work. Okay, so let's create a new file. For example, here I'll create a new. Today is a new example. Today is 23 February 2021. Okay, and now I'll create a new project. It's going to be my example 23 to 21, and it's going to be just another project. It's going to be closed, not visible to anyone. It's just an example. Let's accept that. Okay, let's click on finish it, and let's wait that CYPE Architecture is preparing the work environment. And here we have the workspace, and with this is the default workspace that we have on CYPE Architecture. By default, we have here one 3D view, 4 elevations, and 1 floor. The floor is 0. Okay, so these are the views that we have by default, and we have just one layer by default here, the layer by default. Okay, so this is the workspace. Okay, the buttons here in all the tabs, they are the same. We cannot change the position of the buttons here. So the drawings will be always here, the constructional elements will be always here, the spaces will be always here. Okay, so we cannot change the position of these elements, but when we open one of these buttons, we can see these new toolbars that are specific for each group of applications. For example, here the roofs toolbar, we can fix this toolbar in a part of the building, a part of the workspace, so we can maintain these toolbars available somewhere on our workspace. Okay, so this toolbars you can personalize. You can change the position. You can those tools that you always use. You can leave them here on this part of the upper bar, and have an easier access to the tools. Okay, in my case, I prefer to work without them. I prefer to work using just the buttons here, and I think it's going to be easier to show to you how you can find the tools inside of each menu. Okay, so I prefer to work with them inside of the just activating them when we need them, and then deactivating when we don't need them. Okay, so let's start with Sketch, for example. Here in Sketch, we can create a grid. Okay, this grid could be a reference to our project. For example, creating lines on the X and Y direction. For example, one line between 2 and 2 meters, for example, on Y and X and Y direction. Okay, so we can create this grid, for example, and then we can use this grid we can snap this grid. So when we start creating something, we can snap these grids, and could be a reference to our project. So in a very modular project, that could be very useful. Okay, so you have this option. These grids are very flexible. We can create any line here. We don't have to use the same distance between the lines. For example, in one line we can have 1 meter, and another one 4, and then the next one 7, 7.5, something like that. Okay, you can configure this information, and you can also create this grid in 3D. So here we are creating a grid on the elevation 0, but we can create a new one with the same characteristics at 3 meters, for example, and then at 6 meters, and create a kind of 3D grid, okay, or 3D reference grid. Okay, so you can create this grid to start your project. Okay, I will not use the grid. Okay, actually we can duplicate this grid and have different grids. For example, here I have a grid with spaces of 1 meter, and here I have another one with spaces of 2 meters, and this one you can create different grids here. Okay, we will not use a grid. We it was just an example. And sometimes we can create a reference, a line, just a line. Sometimes maybe the grid is too much to our project, but we can create a reference. This pink line is a reference. And what's the difference between a reference line and a drawing line? The reference line will not be exported to BIMserver.center when we export this information here. Will not be printed, will not be, it's just a reference line, okay? So we'll see this information just here on the workspace of CYPE Architecture. It's not available on other applications, so it will not be included on the IFCs when we generate the IFCs with CYPE Architecture, okay? We can create these references in lines, or with arcs, okay? So we have both options here. And then we have the drawing elements here. So to create a line is very, very easy. You can work in 3D like this, okay? We can work in 3D very easy, or you can work in 2D too, no problem. You can choose a specific view, for example, this floor plan view here, and create your lines, okay? I prefer to work here on the 3D environment, working on 3D, and to move on the screen like this, to orbit on your model, you just have to press the shift button and then use the scroll button of your mouse. As you can see, when we click on the mouse button, the symbol of our mouse cursor change to the orbit symbol, okay? And then we can move and change the angle of our view, okay? If you do not press the shift button, you have the pen action. You can move horizontally the model, okay? So this is how we can orbit and pan our model. To create an arc, very easy. You can create, for example, an arc by 3 points, okay? You can decide the precision of this arc. This arc is actually created by 32 different sides or different segments, okay? If you increase this number, you have more segments. For example, here, 64. So you have a much more precise arc when we change this parameter here. You can also, for example, set an arc with a specific distance, for example, 4 meters. When we create that, the arc is 4 meters, okay? So it's a specific distance to the radius of this arc, okay? You can also reverse the direction. So here we have one situation, and here we have another situation. You can reverse the direction of this arc, okay? Different options to create an arc. A quadrilateral is very, very easy. You can create, for example, a quadrilateral just pressing 1 point, a second point, and then a third point. This is one way. So again, 1 point, second point, third point, okay? Or you can create by diagonal, it means just 2 points. 1 point, 2 points. 1 point, 2 points, okay? Sometimes it's very useful to work with diagonals because you can connect different points of your building just with 2 clicks, okay? So for example, here we can create just with 2 clicks. Or you can also create using this option here, at a selected point. What it means, we will define the dimensions of this quadrilateral. Let's see, for example, 4 meters by 7 meters, okay? And then as I stamp, you can stamp this quadrilateral on your project, just clicking, and you can also set an angle, for example, 33 degrees, and then you have here the quadrilateral, okay? So different ways to generate a quadrilateral on CYPE Architecture. Let's delete these examples. Let's use just these quadrilaterals here by diagonal, for example, and let's set some spaces here. For example, this one here, it's gonna be 6 by 8 meters, for example. Okay, 6 by 8 meters. This button here, it's very useful. You can use that to define the exact dimensions of something that you are drawing. So if I activate this button, when we click and define the geometry of this quadrilateral, when we finish the introduction, the dimensions, so here 10.96 is here, it's here, sorry, and 862 is here, okay? So we can confirm this information or adjust that. Now, I was looking for 9 and I was looking for 11, okay? So when we confirm that or press the enter button, the geometry will be define it with the dimensions that we've introduced by the numbers. Okay, so that's a very useful tool that we have here. If we deactivate that, just pressing here, the position that of our cursor will define the geometry of the element. Okay, so this is how this tool here works. Okay, it works with everything on drawing or construction elements, everything. Okay, all right. To create a circle, very easy. Just select a point and then define the radius. You can also fix this radius and the precision of the circle. To create an ellipse, it's quite similar. Here, the difference is that you have two different radius to the ellipses. And to create a polygon, very easy. Just start drawing your polygon, and the last segment of your polygon, you don't have to go and finish the polygon. Just use the right button of your mouse, and the polygon will finish it easily. Okay. All right. To transform this 2D drawing in a 3D drawing, how can we do that? We have here this edit tools. So here we can, for example, delete something, or we can copy something, for example, or we can spin something in a specific x, okay, and an axis defined by 2 points, for example, or we can mirror something. For example, this information we can mirror using this axis here, for example. Very easy. And there's a very interesting tool here that is called extrude. Okay, this one here. And with this extrude tool, we can define, for example, a length. Let's suppose we are creating a little house, and this house have 3 meters is 3 meters high. So just setting this distance here, we can extrude these volumes, these planes, okay, and create a 3D model. Okay, so it's very easy. This new 3D model have new surfaces, and we can also extrude these new surfaces. For example, you can do this kind of situation. Look, it's very easy. Okay, so that's how this extrude option works. Let's delete part of this. Okay, there's another way to extrude something. For example, do not activating this button here with a free length. When we click on that, you just have to work with your mouse and define the size of this extrusion. Okay, let's suppose it's gonna be here, or you can also activate this button here, and now you have a specific length. Let's suppose it's gonna be 7 meters. Okay, so both ways work to create a new extrusion here. Okay, let's delete this part. All right. We can also change the colors of this this model. Let's suppose here I have here a color that's going to be, I don't know, I will create a kind of red here, red, for example, and we can also change the opacity of this layer. Let's suppose 40%, okay, and we have this situation here. Okay, so this is how the sketch tab work. Okay, very easy, very flexible. Here you can develop your model in a very early moment of your project, when you don't have all the information to know the elements that you have on the construction elements that you have on your project, or the characteristics of the materials. It's actually just a drawing. Okay, let's change from sketch to architecture. Here we start talking about BIM modeling. Okay, so this one, it was drawing, but now we are talking about BIM modeling. Okay, so from this step we can create our BIM objects, our BIM elements. Okay, so for example, a vertical element. Let's start with a wall. Okay, a wall, we can define a reference and a label for this wall. What it means: this is going to be the name of our wall, and this is going to be our group of walls. Let's suppose that we have a specific group of walls there are interior walls with 14 centimeters, for example. Okay, when we create different walls in the building, but they are from the same category or the same group, we just have to use the same label. Okay, in the future, when we export this model to BIMserver.center, and for example, we need to run a thermal analysis or an acoustic analysis, or for example, generate the bill of quantities, these labels will be very useful because we must to select just the group of walls, not each wall. Okay, so this is a very useful tool. It's an information that we can add to our model, and I suggest that you create your groups of walls or any other element using the labels. Okay. To introduce a wall, we can introduce by polyline. What it means, I will just click on the perimeter of the wall. Okay, so the height is it's here. So let's suppose now we want to introduce 2.5 or just, I don't know, 1 meter. Okay, here is the parameter, and then we can just draw the perimeter of this wall. Okay, if any moment we need to change, so I can select this wall here and change. No, it's not 1 meter, it's 3 meters. Okay, so 3 meters. I would like to put 3 meters in all the walls here. How can we do that? We can use the copy properties, copy the property height that we have here, and select everything here and have everything in 3 meters. Okay, so this is the first way to create a 3D wall on CYPE architecture. The second way is by using this one, by points. What it means, probably sometimes my wall will not be, we don't have a constant dimensions. For example, we can have a wall that is a triangle, for example, here, or any other element that is not a specific or a conventional wall. Okay, so we can create it using defining the different points of this wall. Okay, so a specific wall with this geometry that is not conventional. So we can create by points. Okay, and a third way, I think it's the most interesting way, is creating by surfaces. Okay, so we can use this button here, and here we can use the information that was developed before on our sketch. Okay, so I will just select this. So we just have to select the surfaces from our sketch and adopt the geometry of these surfaces to create the walls in this case. Okay, so that's very useful because you can create different geometries on the sketch. Some of these geometries could be very complex. You can create a very, I don't know, a wave building, or maybe a building with a complex format, and then convert the sketch into architecture. Okay, so this is the way that we convert and sketch to architecture. Okay, the same situation we have to horizontal elements. It means if we want to introduce a slab, here, this slab, we also have this option for surface area, and we can define the slabs here, adopting the format or the geometry of our sketch. Okay, for example. And the same situation we have also, let's do something here that I think it's going to be interesting. Let's create here a little circle here, for example, this one here, another one, I think it's going to be, no, here, no. Let's see if it's possible. Here, okay, on the top of the building, let's create some circles here, a geometry that could be very difficult to define in a specific using a conventional BIM modeler. Okay, and we can convert in a sky window, for example. How can we do that? Going here to architecture, on the openings menu, we also have here the glazed surface, and this glazed surface also have this option, so we can select here, for example, these, okay, Oh, this one was duplicated. It's why we have this situation. Now, I think, yeah, here, okay. And when we create a slab, for example, oops, here we have a little problem here. I don't know why. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we had a little problem here. No problem. No problem. Let's keep going with another model here. So it was possible to create the glazed surfaces from the sketch too. Okay, let's keep continuing with other elements. So on the vertical elements, we can also introduce, for example, curtain walls. So a curtain wall, it's very easy to introduce. We just have to press a first button, then a second button. If the option here is activated, we can define the precise length of this curtain wall. Let's suppose it's 20 meters, okay? And it was invisible because it was inside of a layer that is deactivated. Let's activate that layer. Now we have our curtain wall here, and you can define the different parameters of this curtain wall. The geometry, for example, it's going to be 9 meters, or the spacing between transoms and mullions, for example, it's going to be 0.5 or 0.5 here. The size of these elements of the curtain wall, this is too big, let's use something that is smaller, for example. You can also change the color. Let's change the color of the glass. Let's use a red glass, something that is very strange, but you can see the difference, okay? So you can change the parameters of this curtain wall, okay? If we create a second one, for example, let's create a second one here with 4 meters, for example, somewhere here. Okay, these walls are different. They are different parameters. How can we copy the information from this curtain wall to this curtain wall? It's very easy. You just have to use this button here, copy properties, select the reference. It's going to be this curtain wall. And for example, I would like to copy the level, the label. I don't want to copy some dimensions, just for example, the color, and I select the properties, accept, and then select the curtain wall that I would like to copy. So just the color was copied. No, I would like to change also the spaces between transoms and mullions. So how can we do that? Let's copy also the transom spacing, separation between mullions dimensions, and put it here, okay? So now we have this curtain wall similar to the first one, okay? This tool here works with everything, okay? If it's a window, if it's a swimming pool, if it's a roof, if it's a wall, you can do always this action of copy properties. Probably it's going to be your best friend here on CYPE Architecture, okay? Let's keep going. Here, we saw the curtain walls. We can also create some louvres. So the louvres are very similar. The difference is that they're not glazed. So here, let's put, for example, 8 meters. So here we have these solar protections, okay? They are ventilated. You can add this information. In this project here, let's open it. This project, we have a very interesting louvre here. So this one was created with the same tool, okay? The difference is that the parameters inside of this element are different. So here we have with different parameters, different colors, with and slope on the slats, okay? So they are created using the same tool, the louvre tool, okay? More elements that we have here. We can add, for example, a railing. So railing, we can create this railing. We can personalize this railing by editing this information. For example, here, I don't know, let's change, for example, let's add some balusters here, like 4 balusters, and let's add some window panels inside of the frame, and change the spacing. The posts will be between 1 meters and 1 meter, for example. Let's accept that. So here we have a different railing. I would like to change also the color. This handrail, I would like to put some black, and the post is in, I don't know, in gray, and balusters also in gray. And the glass, I would like to put in 50% of transparency. Okay, no problem. Here we have our railing personalized. Okay, so very easy to introduce the railings on the building. The horizontal elements, we saw the slabs. Let's see the suspended ceilings. The suspended ceilings, they are very easy to introduce. We just have to define the perimeter of this suspended ceiling. Let's suppose we have this geometry here. I don't know, it's gonna be over above a living room, for example. I don't know, the specific would be a specific geometry from we can snap on the geometry of the building. Okay, and once we define the geometry of the space of our building, we have to select the start point to the elements of these suspended ceilings. Okay, so could be here, maybe could be here, or maybe could be here. Okay, we must select the first point of the first element. Let's suppose it's here. When we click on that, the program will generate all the elements here on this to generate this suspended ceiling system. Okay, so here we have the suspended ceiling. Okay, let's delete something here. There's too many things. And let's introduce here more horizontal elements. For example, we can add a beam. Okay, we can add some beams. Very easy to introduce a beam. Just define the dimensions and then define the geometry by clicking on the model, and you can snap other elements and define the beam. Okay, you can also change the color of this beam to another color. Okay, no problem here. You can change to another color. And you can also create these colors here. You must create this library of colors before, and then to any element you have to select the specific color. Okay. More elements that we can add in on our project. For example, let's create a little wall here, very fast wall here. This wall here, let's create it here with 3 meters height. Okay. And let's add some openings. So we can add a door, for example. Here we can change the information of this door. Let's suppose it's another color. We can change the handle. It's going to be a double door with 2 openings, and it's going to be a sliding door, not a normal door. Okay. So we select first the characteristics of this door, and then we select a wall. It must be a wall. Okay. For example, I will put this door 4 meters from this point here, 4 meters. Now we must select the opening position. Okay, so this door could be in this situation or in that situation. Okay, so in that situation, for example, and then we can put it on one of the surfaces of the wall. Okay, the internal surface, for example, in the middle or in the external surface of this wall. So let's suppose it's in the middle. So this is the wall. If you want to change the size, for example, of the wall, no problem. We can edit that and change. Let's suppose it's going to be, let's change for a normal door, not a double door. We have this situation here, okay? We can update this opening that was automatically created when we introduced the wall, just using this option here, openings, and here we have update openings. By clicking on the element, we can update the opening. Okay. To introduce a window, it's quite similar. We define the properties of this window, and then select a point. This is too high. Let's change again. It's too high. Windows, because this parameter here, high above the ground, is too high. Let's put here 1 meter, for example, and introduce it on the window, on the wall. Select the opening direction and the position. One surface in the center, another surface, for example, in the center. Okay. If you need to copy this window, no problem. You can just copy one window and put it in a specific distance, okay? If you need to change the window, the same, just editing the button using the pencil button and change for a 4 leaves window, okay? No problem. Very, very easy. Here you can also create these glazed surfaces. For example, this one by points is very interesting. So you can select one point. Let's just deactivate here. Openings, glazed surface by points. You can add here, I don't know what is capturing here, a point that is not here. Okay, so you can add this one point, another point, another point, another point, and create a specific geometry to your carpentry. Okay, so it's not a normal window, but you can also create this kind of windows. Okay, it was not confirmed. Sorry. Let's do it again. I don't know, something like this, like a E, or I don't know, something like that. Now we have to select the position. So one surface, another surface, or in the center, and we have our glazed surface. We can also add a frame to that. So just activating the frame width. So we can add the frame of the glazed surface. Okay, very, very useful. Connections, for example, to create a stair is very, very easy. You can also add the railings and define here the stair spans. There are different ways to add a stair, but it's very, very easy. You can define here the materials of the elements of this stair. For example, let's change here the element, the color of the railings, and then you can add this stair here. You can also repeat and create a kind of how can I say, a kind of stairwell. Yeah. So you can, in this case, we was selected 2 repetitions, but could be 10 repetitions, for example. And then we have this situation here. So to create the stairwell is very easy. The same situation you can do with ramp cars. You can also add some lifts. So lift 1, for example, lift 1. You decide the size of this lift, if the openings are two openings or 1 opening, and then you click and add your lift, and then you can add the places where the lift will stop. It means the floors of your building, for example, 3, 6, 9, 12 meters, and then you have your lift that was introduced to the model. Okay, that's how we can introduce a lift on the model. Swimming pools. Okay, so here swimming pools. You can just draw your swimming pool. I don't know, like this, for example, and then define some parameters of the swimming pool, like the depth and the color. Okay, and then you can create the spaces. For example, let's create a kitchen, then let's create a bedroom, let's create a living room. So here is how we describe the spaces of our building, in this case adopting the entity IFC space to then generate the analytical model of our building, or to easily calculate the bill of quantities based on the areas or of the surfaces of this space. Okay, so there are different ways to add a space. One of them is by creating the polyline. Another one would be, for example, if we create here some walls. Let's create again this wall, and this wall here. Okay, and let's add a floor slab, for example, here, and here. And let's copy this slab to this point too. Okay, so here we have our 3D model, and we can generate the space just selecting here. Okay, so yep, not this point, it would be the have a little problem with my connection here. Maybe now you can hear me again. I'm sorry about that. I lost the connection for a while, but now I think it's everything okay. Yep, if you please just can confirm that you can hear me well, but I think it's not working. Okay, but it was actually in the end of the. Thank you for your confirmation. It was just in the end of the presentation. So we saw the sketch, the architecture tools, and the last one it was the furniture tab. It's very easy to introduce a furniture. In the start, the start of the presentation, we had a table. But to add, for example, a washing machine would be very easy. Just have to select the properties of this washing machine and then introduce the object on the model. And it's the same situation to any furniture that we have here on this tab. Okay. The last thing that we can do with CYPE Architecture, export this information and then connect CYPE Architecture with different other plugins or modules or softwares that are available on the BIMserver.center platform, like to the construction systems. You can define the layers of your construction systems, the layers of your wall, your roof, your construction elements. You can also add the electrical mechanisms that you can have in your project. You can create a specific model to urban planning. It means you can connect with the city hall or any other organism that approves projects, and you can run an analysis to verify if your model is in accordance to the laws of a specific city. For example, you can set up this criteria of urban planning inside of the software and then analyze your BIM model. You can generate the view of quantities, the automatic view of quantities, adopting the quantities from the BIM model. Okay, I think we'll have a specific seminar for that in some weeks. And you can generate the drawings of your building using another tool. Let's just open it here. So this is Open BIM Layout. So when you press this button, you will export the BIM model and then import the BIM model inside of this tool. And for example, that building that we have been talking before, the little house, okay, this is the tool, the building that is in a next step of the project. So here we are creating the drawings, okay, from the BIM model that was generated on CYPE Architecture. Okay, so this is the IFC that was exported by CYPE Architecture, imported at Open BIM Layout, and from this model we can create the different views and then add these views in the sheets and then export it into PDF or DWG, different formats. Okay, this is part of the presentation of my colleague that will be on March 3rd. Okay, so the next seminar will be about the generation of graphic documentation of an Open BIM project. Okay, so I invite you to come and to see a little bit more about this workflow. It's a very interesting workflow. Okay, so thank you very much for your to coming here on this presentation. It was a pleasure to share with you a little bit about CYPE Architecture. As I said before, it's a very, very interesting and useful tool. Okay, it's especially because it's for free and you can do everything. It doesn't matter if it's a observatory like this one. Okay, so an astronomical observatory, you can do a lot of things with this tool. Although it's a free tool. Okay, just download that from BIMserver.center, start working with that. It's going to be very easy to learn. Okay, so it was a pleasure. I hope I see you in a next opportunity, and goodbye.